That's right. Tonight, you'll be hearing from Maggie Clark and Maggie Clark. That's right. Right here on Pyramid One Radio.
This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Hi everyone, this is Bob Charles at Pyramid One World Radio. So many times I get emails from people that, they have questions, they have comments on things that we do on our shows. And one of the shows that happens to get most of is Jamie Clark and Maggie Clark. And we've talked about this subject a couple of times, and as Jamie tells me all the time, you have to journal things, you have to write things down. Okay, I used to do that when there was music. I used to write music in the middle of the night. I was crazy. I had to get up out of bed and start writing music. But this is something that was a little bit longer, but I'm going to make it as short as I can so that everybody can understand. It's a little story about love, where love comes from, how it exists, how you make it exist, how you make it live, breathe, feel good, and be yourself. Energy is everything, and everything is energy. I believe that love is the highest form of energy. Love is usually defined as an emotion of a strong affection towards someone. But love can also be seen as a form of energy. We already know that all matter is energy in movement. Even the most solid objects are built from energy. We are surrounded, yes, surrounded by energy. We ourselves are energy. We are. We're standing here, we're breathing, we're talking, we're thinking. We are energy. The source of this energy, though, is love. Let's put it another way. Humans are always surrounded by energy, mainly 5 types. Those 5 types are physical, etheric, emotional, mental, and spiritual, which sum up to form an aura of a person. But there is one more energy that is more powerful and that no one talks about, not even CNN, which is love energy.
That's a beautiful intro.
Humans are always surrounded by energy, mainly 5 types. Those 5 types are physical, etheric, emotional, mental, and spiritual, which sum up to form an aura of a person. But there is one more energy that is more powerful and that no one talks about, not even CNN, which is love energy. Just like any energy, love is also created, transferred, and received. I feel it is what defines your happiness, level, and other emotions. Now, there are 4 main types of love energy. Now, I'm going to give this to you in the ABCD order, but I think you'll understand it just a little bit better. As I said, there are 4 main types of love energy. A, one that you get from your mother, your father, or a close family person. B, one that you get from your close friends. C, one that you get from your partner or your lover. And D, and one that you create on your own, or also known as self-love. That's, or should I say, let's understand how love energy is created and transferred. Stay tuned to these shows. They will answer actually so many more questions, so many more comments, so many parts of you. Yes, you, the whole you, what you are, the spirit you are, the love you are. Thanks for your time. I love everyone.
And there we go. We got Jamie Clark and we got Maggie on the show.
Yeah, brother.
Hello.
Always good, Bob. Hey, nice intro. It's beautiful. You know, and you bring up a very interesting point to myself. Love is everything. Love already is unconditional of itself, and love allows everything to be. Now, I do a lot of scientific studies and all that good stuff, but there's another person who's a scientist. I'm not a scientist, but his name is Albert Einstein, and, kind of well known. And that's the gentleman who had the technology to obliterate life, is also the very same scientist who found that there's an extremely powerful force that so far science has not found a formal explanation to. It is a force that includes and governs all others and is even behind any phenomenon operating in the universe and has not yet been identified by us. This universal that was interesting. This universal force is love, Albert Einstein. And that was just a small writing to his daughter many years ago. And I'm like, God, I didn't know he had a daughter. But wow. With about 1,400 letters that he had written, one of them was to the people to put this information away for at least a few decades. He said that humanity is not ready for it. And now, all these years later, we're starting to realize, love is everything. That's the point. And it's always, that's lovely, until you have your own experience, and then it's firsthand experience. And I got to say, just for myself, I merge. I'll just be sitting there, I become everything. There is no separation in any way at all. And every time I connect, it's like the best mood, the best meal I've ever had. My soul is full, and love is everywhere. No judgment ever on the universe's part. And to feel that firsthand experience, it moved from, that's lovely, to that stuff's real. And when, just like you were sharing, the fact of, how do you want to manifest that love? Because 1, it's already allowing everything to be. 2, it's all energy. 3, how would we like to create a new reality by those vibrations and energy and our conscious awareness? We can create so many new realities as we do each and every moment. But I think, like you're doing, Bob, you're bringing us together on a worldwide scope, a connection. Kind of like the internet web, we have the universal web. And it's really nice to be able to share just some insights and information with humanity in a way that, might be giving you something to think about, because it's all amazing.
We had somebody, I think they're from Poland,
I think that was what it was. It was that area. The IP was from that area, and we did a show not too long ago, and it had to do with love. And a couple of weeks ago, and then when I read this message that came through, and then I was like, "You don't get it, huh?" It was like, "Duh." So I said, "All right, let me explain it to you." And I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I looked up things, and I looked up, and I'm going, I'm saying to myself, "Damn it, maybe the guy's crazy, maybe the guy's right for crying out loud." It's like I'm trying to find out. So, like, you can take information. I could have been talking for 2 hours if you take all the information and you break it down. You could be talking for a long time. I mean, I could stand in front of a bunch of people in that, and they'd be crying when I was done. But
I hope that's
you
a
know,
good thing.
but I'm serious. But it was like, how do you take this whole thing and go, like put it in a funnel and like shove it in with,
Yeah,
So I did the best I could to like put all the information in one place in a short amount of time.
excellent. And any response?
Well, when the response that they came back and said that was beautiful, I was okay. Well,
Excellent.
half of it got there.
Hey, that's an acknowledgement just from your communication.
But
And
you
it's
you
nice
gotta
if you can
remember,
get that.
though, a lot of people that listen to us now are not in the same country mindset. I mean, we're right now. We're going so far to the left right now. I mean, I'm ready to fall off the chair. But it's it's one of these kind of things that we're like in other countries. They don't. Their love and our love is two different loves. This is very personal and private, whereas ours is the other way now. It's out in the open. I mean, like people that were in a closet, they ain't no closet no more. Forget about it. They blew the doors open. Hey, listen, this is the way it is. So, I mean, the only thing that I got any kind of comments from, weird ones too, was Germany, my home country. But
Wow. And
yeah, and they were the kind of people that said, they enjoy listening to the shows and that they do. They play them back. They go on YouTube and that they take them out of there. But they said, you said something about love, and I said, oh, okay.
I just got triggered.
I'm turning around and going, "What? You gonna get it now?"
It's really interesting. I have a great friend from Iceland, and we were talking about the concept of love and how we use it very casually in the English language, at least in the United States. You're like, oh, I love this and I love that, and that's so cool. I love this. She says in Iceland, they do not use that word love unless they are like in a very special moment with someone of love. Like the connection has to be so deep and such a precious moment. But I love you too. But they don't say it casually. They don't say, I love this. And we are so fond of just throwing that word out like, oh, I love that color and I love that shirt on you and I love my dog. But they're very picky.
Because they know what it is, and the ones here don't. What I said, if more and more and more people listen to that, they'll get some kind of an idea in their mind, like, hey, is that what it is? That's why we sometimes we use word. Look, the F word. Let's go for the F bomb. How many people do you hear a day say it?
I don't know how many freaking. No, I'm kidding.
I'm serious. I mean,
I usually hear it at least once a day. I mean,
I see, but the idea of the thing is in that same country that you're talking about with the love, you're not going to hear that either. You know what I mean? It's respect for themselves. The love is a very special thing. It's a very, very special. How would you say it? If you had an ocean, it's a very special wave. And the wave comes and goes, and we just lost our internet. I mean, our server.
Interesting.
No,
Go ahead, keep talking.
love.
and so everybody outside is not hearing us right now.
That's okay. It's being recorded at least.
Oh, yes, it is. So this is what we're gonna do. Yeah, it's on the other recorder.
Cool.
Let me see now if I can bring this thing back up again. I mean, it's just going to be one of these. It's going to be two. It's going to be two recordings.
Cool. Perfect. Go with 3.
Let me see. Let me see if I can get it back on again.
It's that connection to love, that there are so many variants for love. I always share the fact of love for an animal, love for a human or spouse, a love for country, a love for the world, a love, so many different aspects. And just to me, I'm the oddball. I'm like, no, love is a very amazing gift, but for me, I'm gonna freaking share it. Here you go. Here you go. Because I'm lazy. To me, it takes no more energy to send love and light to one person than to the all that is. So if I can cover all of that, and a dynamic for myself is, come from the love. It's not always easy to send a person love if they're really freaking irritating you. But for myself, I found a way around that roadblock. And what I put it as is we are all within the ocean of consciousness. Each one of us is a droplet within that ocean and all interconnected. Now, the droplets at the bottom of the ocean are no less than the ones near the top where it's light. But do we realize it's the law of equivalence, and it can be no more and no less than that with which you comprehend it to be? And it's that perfect alignment that, isn't it crazy on this world? Everything is allowed to be good, bad, happy, sad. Everything is allowed to be. For if it were only one way, it would only be one way. Now we're seeing the versatility of energy to go, how would you like that love vibe to come into your life, to vibe through you? Is that soul print of consciousness is an eternal being. And then you bring up the aspect of scientifically, like you were sharing, we're energy. And in quantum physics, they found that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But then, again, in a practical way, if that's scientifically validated that we are eternal and we have always been, and yet this universe has only been here 14.3 billion years, we may not be from this universe.
I got news for you. There's even more than that. I read a report one time when they took what was it, the North Pole or the South Pole, one of the two, that they took these core things that they go in and they do all kinds of tests on the rocks and everything else, a couple of 1,000 feet down, right? So they want to know how long this place has been around. And people say just like you, it's only 3 million years, blah blah blah. We're talking billion. We're talking. We start at 1 billion and go backwards. I mean, it's that. I mean, seriously. I mean, when people talk about the universe and a God, a spirit, an essence that fills everything that's around us,
Is, yes.
is exactly. This is and has been here forever, as far as any scientific anything can go back to. People keep saying, well, there's UFOs, and this and that, and they see this and they see that. No, these guys were here 1 million years ago when they put the dinosaurs over here.
And
That was like,
worlds.
yeah, we were like a rescue kennel. It was like, I don't want them things on my planet. Throw them over there. Zing, so they threw them over to this blue planet, and that because they figured, well, they'll feed themselves, no big deal. But we've evolved from all those things that happened such a long time ago. And of course, I'm being facetious, but somebody put them things here. I mean, every single one of the meteorites that pieces are coming off of that's coming here, they're finding organic material that's unidentifiable. Really? Okay, where was it? Well,
Yeah, huh?
you get it. I said that I had a scientist on the line one morning. They're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're in England or whatever. But they've already had their coffee. And I said to the one guy, I says, you talk about all this energy and everything else. Are you racist? And the guy was like, he was freaking out. He goes, what do you mean? I didn't say anything about a car. I said, yeah, but how come it's different than we are, huh? If it's different, then it must be racist.
Oh God,
That
was brilliant. Very nice.
I've heard that a billion times, and the guy's like, what are these things?
Us regular folk can get them to question things.
Exactly. But you see, there are so many things that are going around that we can laugh about now, only because we realize that there is more out there, and there's more right here.
And within. Yes.
And I mean, don't tell me, anybody, not you, but anybody, tell me, that there are not people here that came from somewhere else. You're not going to tell me that. I'm sorry. I do not believe it. Maybe I'm an alien. I don't know. But there are old souls that come from possibly somewhere else, and some of them, I'm sure, know where they came from. Because all of them at one time or another, all of us, we die, and maybe we're reborn. When you die, you have an option. You can stay wherever you are. You can be a guiding spirit. You can guide. You can educate. You can tutelage someone.
Kind of like here.
Right? Or you can go on. Take one more step, and you can become another human. Which I already told them up there. I got to skip kindergarten, or I'm not going anywhere. But but the whole thing. This is the way the whole thing works. But you would have had to be there to even get some kind of an idea of what's going on up there,
Mm-hmm.
or down there, or wherever it is. I don't know. I didn't see any flames.
What if this is not the only planet in this solar system with
That's
life on
right.
it?
Yeah. Well, there's 14 right now that they know that could support life.
Nice.
14.
That's
So
the
out of the
Goldilocks positioning. Not too close, not too far,
yeah,
just right.
no, they're too many light years away, except for those spaceships that fold the dimension
Yeah,
and
becomes
they go
right here, right
right.
now. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're here. So that's why they've been around longer than we have, because they failed. They didn't. They failed. They didn't. Well, somewhere something went right, and they built their ships, and they're here. We can't get to the moon without questioning whether we're going to get there or not. They can get from one end to the other of the universe, however big this universe is, and they can do it in seconds, right in front of our face.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about other universes?
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my beliefs, but I believe there are other solar systems.
Yeah, solar systems, yes, but
Yeah,
also universes,
exactly.
literally. So,
Exactly. But they would have to be in one place.
what do you mean?
In other words, like there's one void. That's where all these planets are.
Okay.
And if there's one void, there can't be another void because you've already got one void. So where are you going to
Right.
put the universe if you have to have another void? If you have another void, you're not going to have another universe because you wouldn't even know it was there if you looked.
What if there's a potential that each one of us are the all that is, but that each universe is kind of like how we perceive a galaxy or a solar system? Hey, there's a bunch of stuff. Just from my awareness, that's it. There was a time very recently that in my mind sight, my whole inner beingness just was like a vacuum, and it was the void, it was the nothingness. And off to the side, excuse me, as I was viewing this, was apparently our universe in a cylinder shape. I'm like, what the flag nog? And then it was shown to me that that void is everything. The nothingness is the potential for everythingness. But that, just to my awareness, each universe has its own shape, its own vibe, its own connection. There is literally a universe where you will only get into it if you are of love and light consistently. You don't fool the universe kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know a lot of that was there. Because I always thought the universe goes on forever. I'm like, well, just my awareness. Nope.
All right, let me throw you a card. What's this? A curveball.
Cool.
You see this?
Okay.
Can the universe be in there?
Yes.
Yes. See, and you ask somebody else, and they'll go, "What are you crazy? How are you gonna get?" I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I've done this
Yeah.
before. This wasn't the first time I did this.
You
Yeah,
know,
I did it in a demonstration, believe it or not.
beautiful. I think we're now gaining the guts and the awareness to become that inner space astronaut, discovering who we truly are, which is everything. It is all one. As
Mm.
crazy as it is, no separation ever, ever. It's all interconnected. And that, the old adage, treat others like you would like to be treated. I'm like, that stuff's real too. I didn't realize, I think I've shared that before, is in a brief moment, I instantly became everybody that I ever interacted with. I felt every energy exchange. And when I came back into this body, the words that came with it are, how'd you treat yourself? I'm like, holy cow. Each one is a reflection of me. I am that connection. And, when you have that firsthand, I have no choice but to go, well, I don't understand it, but I just experienced it. And that's all I can function with is my awareness. That's it. But I've learned to keep my awareness solid because I'm always growing. We're always growth seeking beings. I'm always going to learn. So doing the best I can with where I'm at in my evolution as a soul print, I keep going. And if we can help others to help themselves, this is going to be a better place, one person at a time. Who are we going to start with first? Ourselves.
Us.
Yes, no longer narcissism, self-realization. We cannot give what we do not have.
Uh, really seriously, I mean, I wish that I could get more of us together in one place
Yes, sir.
and an audience, cheap. You want to come, $5. You go any place now, it's like $60. I mean, for crying out loud, you go to the movies, it's like $20 a head.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. I'll wait till it comes out in CD. Don't be doing DVD. I mean, so I mean, me and Red Box are like this. I swear.
Cool.
But anyway, the thing is that if we can get more people in there together to do the same thing as Trump does, only in a different way to make people start looking at themselves different. There goes the thing again. Anyway,
3 recorded.
I don't know what happened. You went first. It went second.
Oh, interesting. Okay. We'll go with it, man. We're still here.
Yeah, here we go again. We changed. I did anyway. I had to. I had to change the server that we were using, and the one that we were using, I never had any problems with whatsoever.
So what happened? Why'd you have to change?
Because the server farm was taken over by Ukraine.
Oh, so they're adjusting that. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so that's how I lost. That's how I lost that server. And the servers that I have, I mean, they're. I mean, it's Canada. I was in Germany. Now it's Canada. So.
Okay. Well,
I don't know. They don't operate like that like the other ones did. But sometimes they're fine. But like right now, we got all the sun stuff going on and everything else. So
crazy, huh?
yeah.
Major shifts in consciousness as well. And the ability to read energy, that love, all of that's energy. But in addition, there are so many different ways to read it, whether it's like myself, psychic medium, like tarot, as Maggie does, and many other modalities that you can read those vibrations of energy and have information for people. And it's really cool because I share the fact that I love Maggie and her talents, because some new people that will come to her public presentations are like, okay, those are lovely cards. All right, sure, whatever. And then she starts flipping them over and they're starting to go, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So I love that because they're like, all right, whatever. I have no idea. Couple of cards, here you go. But when she's flipping those over and able to give insight, and some of those cards have been presented differently for myself, the hangman and the devil thing. That I used to be like really uneasy
You
until
still are.
Maggie. Well,
You get the devil and you frown, and I was like, "What are you frowning for?"
I feel like him once in a while too. So don't worry.
Yeah,
I
but
know nothing. I know that the guy. What if the guy hangs upside down? Huh?
yeah, see, but that was the thing, is she was putting it, that's getting a different perspective on life, on circumstances, on experiences. I'm like, that's beautiful. And then the devil thing is, where are you giving your power away?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, well, for me, that was a big thing. And a few extra words gave me the insight to go, okay, that card's possibly having another meaning than what I originally thought. You flip it over, it's like someone dying. What the?
Well, and they were specifically created to kind of make us go ooh a little bit, because we have to address what we're afraid of, because that points us back to love. And since this show is really about love, anything that we fear, the opposite pole is going to be love. And so some of those cards are meant to kind of activate that think about this, like, what are you really afraid of, and where can you bring love into the equation?
And that love allows everything to be.
And the devil is a 15, which 1 + 5 = 6, and the lover's card is 6. So it's literally, you take the lover's card, love, and the opposition to that is the devil, or what you're afraid of, or where you give your power away. So it's all about claiming that power back. You know, it's a very empowering card when you see through the eyes of love and you're like, oh, that's what I have to love.
Nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You should never frown when you get the devil. You're just dealing with your own issues.
Turn that frown
Be
upside
human
down.
for a change, you know? We all got them.
Yeah.
We all have them.
Yeah, I tell my dog that.
It's good.
It's like, hey, yo.
Hey, so reading, let's, if you're okay, let's have Maggie do a basic read for you.
I'm almost afraid because so she smiled when they said reading, and I was like, oh.
Well, you definitely don't have to. You don't want to. Or we could just pull one card if you want to keep it simple.
No, go for it. Go for it. I mean,
Right.
this is public. I mean, as long as the thing doesn't go off. Hey, you want to talk about crazy things? I'm on Newsmax the other day. They lost 3 of their guests. They had them on there. The guests went whoop.
Oh,
One after the other. This morning, I just happened to, and I don't like the channel, but it begins with a C and 2 N's. I go on there once in a while because there's another storm that's coming through the Americas. So I figured, well, let me see where it's going. And they got a guy there that does more of the computer stuff. So anyway, they're talking on there, and they lose the weatherman. And I was like, what? I mean, the weatherman wasn't, I mean, he was on location somewhere.
Right.
But all of a sudden, poof, there goes him. And I said, man, this is going to be terrible when I go in to do the show. And here it is, you know, and it happened here. So they're saying that some kind of a sun something is going on.
Like
and
solar
it's like,
flare type of thing.
Yeah, but it's bigger than that. It's whatever it is, it's taken out, I know a couple of power things and that over in Europe already.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And they can do that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's like maybe they take out Russia for like a couple of minutes so the guy gets his real reality in his brain.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm telling you, I'll tell you something. There's nothing. I mean, I will say this on this show or any show. It's not that I don't feel sorry for the people that are over there that are going through what they're going through. I'm more mad at the person who thought he could take over another country. We haven't seen that since, oh man, we're talking back a long time ago. That when the Chinese and things and that used to just go and take it, and the Romans turned around and they said, I'm going to take it. And then the Germans came out and they said, well, I'm going to take it. And they didn't.
They took it all right.
Took it and they gave it back.
Yeah.
And even Russia was the USSR and it's not anymore. Now it's a federation.
Wow.
And now what he wants to do is he wants to build it up to be the USSR again. And the guy's got a problem. He's not going to be on this earth too much longer. So he's got this problem that he figures, let me finish all this before my last, And,
Isn't it interesting?
but look at the people who have to suffer through this kind of stuff, And they're not bad people. I mean, I've talked to Ukrainians, I've talked to Russians. I mean, they get on here. Sometimes they leave an address on here, and I'll write back to them and say, where the hell are you from? I will. I mean, I'm not going to be proud. I'll do it that way. And then they'll write back and they'll say, well, I saw your show on this and that. That's why I got the ones in Moscow University. Awesome. They listen over there. They listen to most of the time that they listen to it when it's in YouTube.
Cool.
But a lot of times that they'll get it live. So, I mean, that's cool. I don't mind, but they want to hear something that people are talking like regular people. Things that are trending, things that are interesting to people that, especially the Russians. The Russians are like very interested into today, now. They don't want to deal with yesterday because their yesterday it wasn't that pretty. Mm-hmm. So now they want to deal with today.
Moving beyond it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were for a while. From what I'm getting from them, they were doing pretty good for a while, and now it's going the other way. So who knows?
Crazy.
somebody's the reptile, whatever guys, and
Goes way beyond
let's
that.
see.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Maggie, let's see if I got some chameleon in me somewhere.
You got some reptilian.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the reading or something else? Because
See,
we'll jump in though.
well, the other one that's over here, Diane, and that swears because Jamie said it once a long time ago. I was a praying mantis.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, if that's the way it goes, there's a planet out there with guys that walk around looking like parents,
Crazy, huh?
So yeah, but I mean, really, what was I? Was I thrown out of my apartment over there and relocated? I mean,
what if you did exactly what we perceive death is? What if there is no death? Because to me, I always say how we perceive death is you die in this dimension and then you go to the other side after this. And my thing is well, life's relative and spiritual, meaning we're extraterrestrials to everyone else. And we right now are living on the other side of where we come from before here. Doesn't that mean we must have died in some way there? Or could it just be a shift in consciousness and vibrational patterns of energy? What if a few of us are aware that we're from tremendously vast distances from this planet, but we've come here to help them, to help themselves? There you go.
and the question is,
perfect timing.
yeah, the sun got you too, huh? And anyway,
that's cool.
Think that what you're talking about, you would have had to be there. I mean, it's not all right. I was in a coma for I don't know a long time, and out of that long time, my time where I was, to me anyway, was minutes. It was minutes. It wasn't a long time, like I was out for that long. But the thing was, when you're on the other side, you realize over there that death is not death. You don't know it here. Here, you're losing this, you're losing that, you're leaving this step behind, you're leaving that person behind, and everything else. And that's something that you're going to take with you anyway to the other side. You're going to know on the other side where you came from. That you know, absolutely. That's why I bumped right into my father at the door. It was like my dad was like, "You don't belong here."
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Not your time yet. Really? They know your time? Isn't that kind of interesting?
Exactly. But to get there, you're educated on the way there. The consciousness that you get whacked in the head with, you have no idea. Love is like, let me see if I could put it to so you kind of, all right. Say you're in the water and there's a storm out on the ocean and you're walking out into the ocean and you get smacked by a 4-foot wave. Okay? That's what love feels like. It's a just a whoosh. It's like there. It's like the thickest cloud of energy you've ever felt in your life.
Yep.
This life, not that life. That life is a whole nother ball game. And at that point, you realize that you can go on. You realize that you can, be the mentor or whatever. These things are things that right into your mind like that. Bingo. Somebody, just plants them right in there. Really, when I came back and like about a year later, I realized to myself that those feelings are in you all the time because your soul came from somewhere else. And that soul has those memories and everything. They know exactly. So if that's the case, we all go on any way we want to. The bodies themselves, when you die, you're not saying goodbye, you're saying hello.
So what if that was your last life on another world? We left all those physical things behind, yet we're creating more physical things as we
I'm an explorer, so I mean it doesn't really, I'm the kind of person that goes Diane will tell you because she gets me all the time because I turn around and I go next. You can get I mean let's face it, you two probably you have a little tits and tats and that back and forth and that, like you dropped your underwear in the pool.
If I were, yeah.
That too. But I'm saying like you have all these kind of things and then, but I'm the kind of person that she calls me a duck sometimes too, because the everything just rolls over my back. It's like next. I mean I can't hate is not part of me at all. Period. I don't hate. That word hate is like not in my vocabulary at all. If I have a problem with somebody, I'll tell them that I have a problem. you know,
Right.
let's talk. One of those kind of
Yes.
things. I will not. I try not to get mad. I mean, everybody does. You're going to do it one way or the other, but I try not to. And as far as what they had on TV the other day, they were talking about killing people. And the one thing that I know only because of where I came from. Let's face it, I was a hunter, or I was a million different things. And guns are not alien to me at all. But if somebody is going to shoot at you, shoot back. But
Yeah.
the thing I wouldn't do, and I would say about 99% of the time, I'd rather shoot somebody in the leg or an arm or a hand than shoot somebody in the body. And the guy that trained me, and I turned around and said, "This is what you have to do." I said, "No, I don't." Because I said, if I shoot the guy in the leg, somebody's going to drop a gun and he ain't going to shoot me. He's going to be holding his leg. And while he's holding his leg, then I'll cuck him in the nose.
That's good. I like that.
I'm serious. I mean, people shoot and kill other people because of their fear.
Hmm.
They don't do it. They don't do it because they wanted to. Nobody wants to. I mean, a millisecond before you kill somebody, does this go through your head? I want to kill you. I mean, come on.
Probably some do.
It looks,
Dollar.
yeah, it looks good in mirror in movies, but that's about the size of it.
Yeah.
And people have to realize, I mean, all the things that are going on around the world right now, and right here in our own country, for crying out loud. They're afraid. These are people that are afraid. They're not people. They keep on saying, well, we got to give them mental, things and everything else. Well, fear will screw up your brain one way or the other, and it's going to make you not feel good, or it's going to make you think sideways or whatever. And you're going to say, well, he said, she said. As long as you start listening to he said, she said, now you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he said, she said, they had their consciousness. This one had their consciousness. This one had their consciousness. And you have your consciousness. Now, what do you believe in? Well, they said, I said, no, no, no. That was a guy, what I saw the other day, as a matter of fact. And the guy says, well, they said, and I said, they don't say nothing. And I gave him they don't say nothing. But I mean, this is the America that we're growing up in, and it wasn't the one I grew up in. I mean, I'm sorry. And I mean, I have enough years under the belt that I have enough experience that I can turn around and say, yep, that's wrong.
No, a lot of years.
I saw it up and down so many times, it wasn't funny. So,
Yes, sir.
and I know how they got there.
If we can do the best we can to be aware of that, and if there's an opportunity to shift a circumstance into love, if there's not as we perceive it being there, let's do that, man.
That's another reason why I did the love thing, because if more people hear that and get it through the head that there's more to it than that, it's a not only energy, it's your whole body
And
is
power
energy.
in numbers. Yes.
Yeah. Well, some guys turn around and say, well, my toe went up this morning. Yeah. That's not love. Sorry, dude. I hate to tell you, but it's not.
And I think finding our own value point of love, whatever that is, and the ability to feel that connection. Like I said, once you have that firsthand experience, you'll have no choice but to go, well, whatever it is, apparently there's something to it. And that's why I'm loving the scientific studies, is putting more of the practicality in a scientific way of this spiritual stuff. Because it's all consciousness, it's all energy. And if we can get people a little bit more comfortable and realize, oh, we have so much more. We're always eternal, growth-seeking beings. But not only that, it brings up an interesting point for me to go, you're in the human form this time. Notice a lot of loved ones aren't coming through with other lifetime vehicles, in this case, bodies, of what they were. They come with familiarity. If that's grandma or dad, they're coming through like the vehicle they were in. It is familiarity. So there's a lot of soul searching going on. That's why it's the tipping point of consciousness, 51% for this entire planet. The planet was reset.
Sometimes also with, at least with a loved one of mine on the other side, I didn't feel her because I wanted her to show up like I knew her here. And she just didn't. She wouldn't until I could receive her in a different form, a different type of energy vibration, more of her, what she considers her true form. And I thought that was beautiful in a way. I mean, it was, are you ever going to visit me 8 years later? And then finally I was like, oh, there, you've been here the whole time. I just didn't, my brain was trying to peg you in a hole, when you were here. And so what do our own expectations create or push away because we think they're going to show up in a certain way too.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of cards we got here?
And don't forget, by the way, that when you're talking 8 years, was it? It said that's about 5 minutes.
Right.
Wherever they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're bringing up an interesting point to me, and I believe you were saying you were in a coma, right? For a
Oh,
while.
yeah.
Okay, because I've shared this before, but I do the mediumship, and I had a family come to me one day that I had read for them in the past and was very accurate. So they came to me that day to see if I could connect with a person who was in a coma. And I'm like, I've never tried that. But kind of like as we perceive dead, you're not talking, you're not connecting, it's just the body there. And so I started tapping in to see if I could pick up any information.
Sure you can.
And I started getting information, personalities, circumstances, experiences, dynamics in that way. And they're like, yes, that's him, that's it. I'm like, okay, so he was very accurate with that. Now I need to follow it up with this. He says, please wait 6 months. He will wake up within 6 months. Just before that 6-month period, he woke up. He saved his own life from a coma. Yep. And that family came to me that day that one way or another things were changing. And for that to be accurate with the information and to go, okay, all right. Because like I do, you have that long a time. It was years. It starts adding up. It gets pretty expensive.
Oh, yeah.
For this, it was just brilliant to go, man, even though you were interdimensional in other realities, you could still be connected with by anybody who's got that connection.
People don't realize that when you're in that state and that your mind is not asleep. In my case, they had operated on the brain. They had actually operated on it, and that they drilled a hole through here, and that to let out whatever pressure or whatever, something like that. The guy says, the thing, like, thing. And the other thing was that I had split down the back, and the brain had actually split.
Oh, wow.
So when it splits, of course, all the nerves and everything else that are pulled away from, they're like torn up. That was the thing, and you've heard me say this story before, and that there was an Italian surgeon, neurosurgeon, that was there in the hospital. It's a learning hospital. And they were over here, a bunch of the guys from Italy, to learn how to use the new American type tech machines that they were using, all this new programming and computers and everything else in that for the brain. But he was also a microsurgeon. He put the brain back together. Wow. Now, for normal things, Ned, there wasn't supposed to be like 6 months, Ned. They said, maybe, just maybe, you'll know who you are. One of those things, Ned. But it took me a year to actually be able to talk correctly. I couldn't say elephant. That was one thing. But it was like, forget it. Like, I just tried. I mean, we're talking for a year. Couldn't say.
Frustrating?
Huh?
Was that frustrating for that length of time that you wanted to talk or communicate?
It was, the people that I had. I also had a psych person that there and everything else. And she said, "Look," she says, "you got patience of a god." She says, "Don't worry about it. You'll be fine." That's just tell me. She said, you got patience. You'll wait." And all of a sudden, like one day, it was like, bing, it's back.
Wow.
And the brain just keyed back in, and that was it. And I remembered so much stuff that maybe I picked up somewhere, but you don't remember. Like, for instance, like trigonometry and that. I did it in school, but it was like a long time ago, and it was like I forgot about it completely, and bingo, I knew it again. It was crazy things that you take these little pieces. Your brain is a computer, so you have to see which drive you're on. Your brain is nothing but a big drive, and it's got A, B, C, D. And now D is the part that you throw away everything that you don't want. But it's there. If you really need it and you really know how to think about it, you'll get back to it. C to A is the other way around. It's important. Like your personal, like you and Maggie, and that's an A, that kind of stuff. The other stuff that goes around you, like going to the store, going to remembering what's inside a ShopRite, or a shop store or something like that, or going on a trip and that, or knowing somebody, remembering somebody's name, that's in B. And then you got C that comes in, and C is a sort of a combination of both, in a sense. They're the things that like you want to remember, but you really don't have to remember. But maybe I'll remember later on, whatever. So that's the whatever drive, and so you're nothing but a server. Yeah. So when I turn around, I tell people like, hey, listen, we're all robots, in a sense, and the soul is the battery. And the soul makes everything work. Everything work. I mean, like I said to one person, I said, what makes your heart go? She goes, well, it just goes. I said, yeah, how? I said, what makes your brain work? How do you know me? I said, how can you put one foot in front of the other? How can you pick your nose with that finger?
Yeah. Not the other.
I said, all these things, I said, are in that battery. Yeah. That
eternally.
Right. Tells everybody everything where to go. So when you do go, you remember every single one of these things. You actually take it with you. But for some reason, it's folded into that soul so that it's in E. Now you see where I went with that?
For everlasting?
No, E for server E. We already went from A to D. But E is the one that it's there. So when you skip over into the next life and everything else, that you'd be surprised at some of the things that you remember and you go, geez, how did I know that? Or you remember what somebody's going to say, or know where somebody's going to go or something. There's your E. Yeah, now you're in the EF.
Yeah, I'm like, I think that's around there. Yeah,
it's like your Solidex, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
way beyond the letters. The Z particum, as I say, it's a limitation by the letters that we have. Anything else, we're like, what? We don't understand. So it just becomes vibrational patterns in the ear nubs, like the soul nubs. Those feelings are the language of the soul. Yeah, and it's that kind of connection that, once you're stimulated like that, sometimes you'll be activated to go, I kind of have an appreciation for life now. All right, because it could be that easy and that changed. I've already had the flavor.
You ever notice how somebody dying always appreciates life more than they did 30 before?
Yeah. Huh.
And then people, this is why I tell people all the time, live in the now, today. Appreciate what you have today. Appreciate who you are today. Love who you are now. I said, don't wait, because they said later is too late. Yep. I said, now when later does get here, you got to start all over again. I said, so clean up your act.
I love that. That's great. Hey, man, let's do it. Mag's got some cards here for you. Let's do some reading.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm seatbelt in. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to speed through this really quick. So the Empress is your focus. So this is all about creative energy, and it taps you into the divine creative matrix. And in that, it taps you into your life force energy as well. So it's an activation sometimes. It resonates with the energy of 3, which is the triangle, which is the natural building blocks in nature, actually, is created through the divine creative matrix. So you really have a focus right now of what's next to create? Like there's a creative urge, a creative surge that rolls through you. And you're also looking at your whole life. You have the Hermit right here as your first card. So you're looking at your whole life. You're integrating, oh, I'm a part of this matrix. How do I want to create myself? You know, because we're constantly creating who we are in every moment. So this is more, not as much of how you co-create with others, even though that's part of your life. It's more of now, how do I want to create what I feel that I am, right? So going into that soul energy that you can tap into, going into maybe even the higher self, but those inner parts of who you are, you're feeling this creative process of, ooh, I can like maybe even give birth to myself all anew. You know, what's the next version of myself that I'm going to wake up to tomorrow? So it's really tapping you into this nice fluid space. The Hermit's a 9, the Empress is a 3. So the 9 is the triple 3. So you're looking at all the phases of life, birth, life, and death. You're looking at all those phases and integrating that, going, I am all of those all the time. So what do I want to create? What you're moving through right now is the star. And what this says is really what you're focused on and really what you want to create is a sense of spiritual empowerment and working out all the kinks so that you can pull in more of that cosmic energy. You can pull in more of your soul wisdom. You can pull in more from who you are in that divine matrix. It's almost like your energy is coming up with the Empress, but the star is like, okay, it can come up and activate from that soul, but then what do you pull back down? What trickles back down is spiritual wisdom, is spiritual knowledge as an empowering energy. The Empress fuels the energy of empowerment. The star fuels from the Empress a spiritual empowerment. So you have energy coming up that wants to go out into the world, but you have a lot of spiritual energy that is being integrated into who you know yourself to be right now. It's a very integrative time. You might be using your energy a lot to create the essence, to create the understanding of who you are, so that when you feel like you're ready to give birth to yourself, it's a lot of work to give birth, right? You got to go through 9 months of labor, right? You got to push it out. You got to go through all this process. And that's what you're going through right now. What is going to come out of this birthing process with this spiritual empowerment, with the knowledge that you have about yourself? Well, you're going to have a lot to talk about, one, and you have a lot to share, because ultimately you're really being, you have a couple cards here. One is called the energy to use position. You have the 6 of wands here. You're being called to share this energy with other people.
Ooh.
And it's more than just your words. It's more than just what you know. It's more than all of it. It's sharing you in a new way. And so part of what you're going through right now is the integration of who you found yourself to be in this matrix, and then how can I share and blend this with other people? You're working through the kinks now, so that really what comes forward is the essence of who you are in a brand new way with new spiritual wisdom from that soul. Like really, that's what you're being called to do, so that you can then communicate that out into the world. You have the 2 of swords as an outcome.
So I'm going to a nudist club camp.
No, but they would be quite fun with this combination of cards, by the way.
Seriously, I'm like,
The Empress and the 6 of Wands would have a ball there. An absolute fantastic time. Okay, so if that's your gig, totally fine. It would be very harmonious. But ultimately, that's really not what your focus is at all. I mean, the focus is about the passion and the creativity, but it's that the star is more of a card of integrating spiritual empowerment. Though you can do that there, you know, that's called Tantra.
I was ready to get a reservation.
Go for it.
Mhm.
By all means, let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what you're going to be moving into is the ability to actually share this information, communicate this information, and also balance what you're feeling with what you know, because you're feeling a lot more than you might have words for sometimes. And that's part of the spiritual integration that you're going through. You're feeling more, but that will sync up so that then you can then express that. You'll then have an understanding of that. You're balancing that logic and intuition through this process so that you can communicate and share your voice in the world which is what you do. And it's part of who you are. It's part of who you've always been. But that Empress is going to trigger a lot of creative energy. You actually might take on what I would call a spiritual project right now, which has nothing to do with, everyday life, although it has everything to do with everyday life, because your spiritual life and your everyday life are the same. You are really blending those worlds of spiritual and physical so that what you do, who you share it with, how you share and blend your energy, how you communicate with the world is a lot more empowered and unified within who you are. That's the brief version.
Wow.
Yeah, huh?
Wow.
That's
It's,
what they usually say.
I can relate though to most of what you said, except the I was kidding about the
Yeah.
yeah.
I was kidding too, although I wasn't kidding that it would be a good combo to do.
Yeah, but hey, if you're gonna share yourself, might as well. Hey, listen, go for it.
But isn't that great
Absolutely.
how much insight and information are in those cards that are pertaining to you?
There's also a lot of healing happening that's already happened that you're drawing from, like things that you felt like you've healed within yourself, that you're pulling up and out. You're integrating more of that energy field of healing as well. So that's just another thing. And when we heal, I'm not just talking about healing the physical body. We heal on all kinds of energetic levels, but you've gone through a lot of healing recently that you're really resourcing from. You're pulling in from the strength of having healed that, whatever that is. You know what that is, but
I think it's called
it's
patience.
And
right.
patience is?
Faith applied.
Something like that. Well, I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna play this thing back on my own time and then say, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
Question at all, man.
you're excellent at explaining what these things are. I mean, it was very. It's good though. You take it like a step back. It's not the hard, the hard words to instruct on how something's done. It's very very common language. The narrative is perfect.
Well, and that's the thing. The key is that I could speak in a lot of esoteric terms.
Yeah, that's all.
Um, absolutely, but I want it to be usable in your life on some level. So
Mhm.
yeah, I threw down some more cards too. So I'll just let you know that part of this empowerment is also a physical empowerment that you're pulling up from the subconscious to the conscious, and that's part of the healing energy that you've been processing recently. You're actually from the subconscious to the conscious, like. There's a strengthening even of the physical empowerment. It's when that couples up, it's going to feel like an ignition. And I know you have high energy levels all the time anyway, but you're
What?
going to, yes, you do, but you're going to feel really more activated. So you might feel the life force energy inside your physical body being more activated. Part of that is because of the healing that you've done, part of the connecting with who you truly are, who you know yourself to be. So there can be an activation that comes from this. Spiritually, you are focused on love. You have the Two of Cups, which is emotional balance. It's also the romantic love card, but in this position, it is the love card for sure. So you have that always motivating you spiritually. But what motivates you most is to be able to share this with others. That's like primarily your motivation and primarily what you are going to get, because the healing that you've done within yourself, the integration that's happening, it's all going to come up and out of you. You're actually going to have more life force energy with the Six of Wands, the Empress, the Strength card in these positions. You're going to have more life force energy behind your words, so that when you speak, there's going to be more power, there's going to be more bang, there's going to be more energy behind it. And you're also going to draw to you the people that can really use that energy, because when you speak, we know every time we speak, there's an energy that comes out of our voice. You are being activated and integrated right now on a spiritual level so that more energy can be connected, whether we call it through the throat chakra or whatever we want to call it, more connected to the words. Like when you say something, the energy is going to come forward more and it's going to hit people harder. or more intensely, I should say. Not that it's hard or weak, but it's going to hit people very, very clearly. So they're going to feel the essence of your words more powerfully with the energy backing you. And that's a gift from the Empress. She is your vital life force energy. She's your passion. She's your creativity. When it couples up like this in this whole reading, what you're really going to have is more power, literally more strength in your voice as you share with the people that are going to be drawn to you effortlessly with this combination. So
That's what somebody said the other day on the when I was talking on the radio. I wasn't on the radio. I was on a Skype at that time, and she turned around and she goes, "Your voice almost knocks me on my," and she said, "ass." You know, she goes, "Wow." And I said to her, I said, "I've been a lead singer, for like half of my life. So where do you get that from?" I mean, really, when you're doing something like that and you do it in front of big crowds, I'm talking like, let me see, my biggest was 65,000.
Wow.
nice.
And when you're doing, no, let me tell you something. When you're standing on that stair and you're looking at that many people, unless you have no care for what's in front of you, which some do, don't care. But I mean, I did. When you look out and you see that many faces looking at you, you know right away you are there to do what they want. You are theirs, period. 100% you are theirs. You get 65,000 people looking at you thinking that you are theirs. Your blood goes right down to your feet in like seconds. That one song that I played for you guys, Light Another Candle, that was the first song that we did. We went out.
Wow.
And it was just, when I started that with the ding, ding, ding on the piano, which I had right next to me, there was one of those beam lights coming down from the ceiling. I was the only thing in the entire arena that you could see.
Wow.
That's it, period. So when I began singing right there, I mean, it's like you can really feel your blood go to your feet. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it really, really does. And people don't realize that people in this position all the time, you wonder why so many people that go astray and things. It's only because the pressure that's put on you, it's mental, but it's huge.
A lot of energy.
It's like hit by a truck. It's worse than the 4-foot wave up in wherever. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, it's crazy. But seriously speaking, there are so many things that I really, really do want to do. This is one media, but there's others. There's podcasts and everything else. You can have a voice that you can channel everyone around you, everyone on the planet. You can channel through yourself at the same thing without channeling. I don't think I could ever channel. I don't. There's no entity out there that wants to take over this mouth.
You'd be surprised.
Oh no, I'm serious. I mean, if I found it, she better be good looking. But on the other
You might
hand,
meet her tonight.
yeah, don't say that.
Just kidding.
Oh yeah, don't say it. I still got to get the mail. But I may be in trouble right now. But see, the idea of the thing is that all these things that I do want to do, the different, like right now, radio like this is on the low scale of everything that people listen to. They listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
You see them walking around with their phones all the time. They always have earbuds in their ears and things. That's what they're listening to. Why? Because they own it. They command it. They don't want to listen to that particular part of the information or something like that. You just fast forward. If you're listening to something like this live, you have to walk all the way through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do it. On a podcast, you don't have to. You can only take the parts that relate to you, or that you feel you own as part of what's going on. So I don't know. I mean, there may be. I got a lot to turn around here. I'll send you a picture of what we got here now. But I mean, it's like it's if I turn it around completely, then I can more or less even get somebody in if I wanted to.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And I've been doing, I've been thinking about taking the laptop over to. There's a clubhouse here on the grounds. It's a big place. It's like 400 houses here, and some of them, I'm not the only business out of a house, only because this is the way it was built. So, but they have like this big 6 by whatever TV on the thing, and I could actually take you to one of those places and just turn the laptop around.
Oh, that's cool.
They work. I mean, I have a laptop right now. I mean, the thing is easily gets over 300 millibits coming into it, just on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
God forbid I plugged it in. But I'm serious. I mean, it'll work. It'll work on things like that. People have to start interacting with each other more. We were put out of commission with this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it's good now. It's okay. You can go out. I've been saying for 2 years, I've been saying if you use a mask, you're in trouble. If you take the shot, I didn't say it. If they take the shot, you're in trouble. Now, all of a sudden, the CD today, look it up. They came out with a thing that if you're between, I think it's 18 or 17 or 16, something like that, and I believe it's like 40 or 50, somewhere there, they recommend you don't get the shot.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Wow.
Because it affects your heart and arteries and your brain. They just said that. But for 2 years, people have been going and pulling up their sleeve and saying, I want it over here. But my own daughter has had COVID twice since she got the shot. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes your immune system and goes, see ya.
Mm-hmm. Along with other things. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't, no, I'm kidding that.
So anyway, there's too many things going on. There's too much baloney and everything else you listen to on the news.
But you know what? That love is bringing us together. We're being able to find more love in life and within ourselves. And I think when we can do that and come from that love, the best that you can. I always say the fact that personal magnetism, when you first meet someone, it's either like, man, I just love your energy, or I don't want to get to know you. They don't have to say a word, yet you feel their energy. Some has nice, clean energy. Others are like, how's it possible to have a dirty, greasy energy? Yeah, they do. It's a channel they're on. It's not negative. It's just there. Know who you're dealing with.
I get all my psychic stuff comes from feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
exactly. I don't think anything.
I could not do what you do, not in a billion years. Well, maybe I could anyway because everybody can. But
right.
the idea of the thing is, I'll get a feeling of somebody. All I have to do is just be near them, and I can feel. It's sometimes it's scary because really you could feel like your hair on the back goes up.
You could feel them at a distance. At a distance.
Yeah, well, maybe you can. I mean, I haven't gotten. I mean, I'm good for like next room or maybe.
Cool. Hey, that's good.
A voice will set me off. To like turn my turn my listening to something. It's very, very strange. When I'm interviewing somebody, for instance, they have headphones on like Maggie does. I can hear your heartbeat. If I'm asking somebody questions or something and they have their headphones on and everything, I can actually literally not so much hear, but know it's going faster, know it's going slow.
Nice.
Very good.
So, I mean, if you can do that, who knows?
Yeah, huh?
I hung out with you for too long.
That's a good thing, man.
Awesome.
You're just realizing your own abilities. That's the point.
Well, yeah, but you really don't. That's why I did the thing out of love and everything. People don't realize how much love there is out there, how much love you can cradle and bring to yourself.
Yep.
And it's about time people start realizing what's going on out there.
One person at a time. It's all about the love, man. Bobby, it's always good, sir.
Oh yeah, I love this music. Anyway. As always, Jamie Clark and Maggie Clark. This is an awesome show. You've got to be down. Well, 2 weeks we'll be on again. Hey, God bless y'all. Love is number one. Love is who you are. Love yourself. Love your neighbor. Love everyone. You are love. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.